Hi, this is Randy, and we want to take a look at some of the post-installation configuration for an ESXi server. I want to start by this screen right here. It's yellow currently at the bottom. This is what you see after you've installed ESXi. You don't have to log in to see this. Once you've completed the installation of a server and you're at the console, you're physically at the server, whether it'd be a physical server, which would be most likely in the real world, or in this case it's a virtual. And I made it a virtual. See if I can get it to come back up here. I made it a virtual just so we could make a video of it. But you look at the information here on the screen down in the yellow, and it gives you the IP address, and that's what you need in order to be able to connect to it. So let's move it out of the way here. Okay. So you take that IP address, and the first time that you go to the server, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. It's a certificate error, and your web browser is not going to easily want to let you go there. But because it's a server we've installed, and we accept the fact that it has a certificate that's not trusted, then we can continue to work on it. This is a certificate that we know isn't trusted, and it's because we installed it, then I'm comfortable with using it. And so you'd click on advanced, and then you would say proceed. And when you do that, then you'll get to a login screen like this. Now, what we're using to work on our ESXi servers is we're using a web browser, and in the documentation from VMware, they favor using Google Chrome. I've tested this with other web browsers, and it seems to work pretty good, equally good in most of them. But I'm going to stick with what they recommended, and it's called the web client, or the HTML5 client, and this is the new direction that VMware is going with how you access servers in a simple environment like ours. This is just a server and us. We don't have the bigger picture of the vSphere or these other higher level deployments. This is just an ESXi server that we just installed, and now we're going to connect to it. And so those are the steps. You look at the console, you see the IP address, you then open a web browser. You can go to that address, either IPv4 or IPv6, and then from there you then are going to use the account. Root is the only initial account that's created at installation, and then whatever password that you assigned to it. Now I want to show you a gotcha here. It's so common for us. We go to a website, we enter information. It's so common just to hit enter. But if you do that, what happens is you get this message, or this error message. And I've been working with ESXi 6.5 and the web client for a few months now, and I still do this all the time. I still hit enter. It's just habit. But you can't do that. Not yet anyways. Maybe in a future version you'll be able to. So I come back and I put in my user account and my password. Instead of hitting enter, just hit login. So we've got a list of things we're going to work on here. I won't let the video go too long. I will just keep after this list. I'll hold that list here for a minute so you can kind of take a look at it. We've already worked on item number 1, and that's using the web client. The note there, don't hit enter. After the next item then is to create a user account. We want to do that for ourselves. Assign permission to that account to make it an administrator so that we can log in under it. We want to then look at how to assign a static IPv4 and an IPv6 address. And then in this video, this will probably wind up being 2 videos, we want to look at setting the gateway, DNS, and the host name. So let's just work on the user part of this, and then we'll wrap that up. So here we have a clean install. Nothing's been done to it. We have the root user, no other user accounts. To create a user account, we go over here to manage, and then we go over to security and users. Got our list here. We go to users, add users, and you name the account. After we name it, I'm going to go ahead and sign a password. ESXi is pretty picky about the password. It won't let you get away with a password that isn't complex. All right, so I got my user, but my user is just a user. I need to give myself, this is an account for myself. I need to give that account administrative authority, and you don't do that here. You don't do that here. So to give this account permission to act as an administrator, go over here to host. I can go then to actions. Now there's a couple different ways to do most everything that we're going to show in these videos. So please, if you've got a better way to do it, share that with me. And if I come up with better ways, I'll share that with you. But what we're after is we're after the action menu here, and then we're after permissions. And you can get that over here as well. You can right click on host and you can go to permissions. So we've got a list of the permissions that have been assigned. Our user, the user, my R.Graves user, isn't in the list. To add it in the list, I go to add user, and then any user that's not in the list will show up here if you created more than one. I highlight the account I want to give permissions to, and then I go over here to roles, and I'd like this user to go ahead and be an administrator. So I'm going to go ahead and add myself. All right, that's it. That's it. So what we've done is we've just given you some heads up about how to find the IP address of how to connect to your ESXi server once you've installed it. The got you about hitting enter when you use a Chrome or other web browser. You get that error message. Don't do that for now anyways. Click on the login box. We've talked about this is the HTML5 client, also called the web client. It is the future for simple installs like us, non-vSphere type of thing. And we mentioned also that the first time you go to it, you see this, and you just got to expect that. And you've got to then what you'll see is actually this, and then you go on. So those are all then the things that kind of get you started. And I'll wrap up this video. In the next video, we'll go take a look at setting the IP address configuration.